3 minutes or 4 minutes or whatever I need.
Try not to limit things if it...
Okay, well, I'm so happy to be here. My name is Mary Yang. I wanted to thank you for being here. What I have, I wanted to make copies, but they were quite expensive and I only had $2 in my pocket, was the attempted non-disclosure agreement that this person put on me to prevent me from talking with you about the assault from the parks facility. Person. It's the Meals on Wheels director who sexually harassed me and pinned me down. And what's wrong with this attempted contract is it basically tries to gag a whistleblower. And just generally speaking, for good governance, you want to open windows or doors to allow whistleblowers to come forward. I think often in the Parks District, right now they currently have a male kind of top-heavy superstructure, and women sometimes feel safer going to other women. It's just a natural human experience if the woman is the person who has the perceived sexual harassment. I wanted very much to volunteer there, but due to the safety concerns, when I started whistleblowing with Skyler, who's a very kind and compassionate person, he took my grievances and listened, and it was very difficult, but I think it was very important work because bad things can happen to anyone at any age, whether it's a little 3-year-old or a boy or someone who speaks Spanish, and we need to open the channels of communication so if somebody does have something they need to share, they don't feel shut down. But I do. The Special Districts Association of Oregon is the law. They provide lawyers to argue for the best case of the Parks District. And I think an unfortunate consequence of my attempt to negotiate with them is they perceive me as an enemy, which is wrong. I was coming to them like, hey, listen, kind of like, you've got a broken bone, you got to treat this, or you've got to understand that if someone is in a liability situation where there's a likelihood of an assault on an elderly person or a woman or a worker or a volunteer, you do not want to have the unnecessary draining of the fiscal budget through litigation regarding violations of disability rights or civil rights. So I was coming as a friend to say, hey, this is a concern. And I think partly because I'm a bit of a city person, I came into the situation thinking, oh, well, it'll be like boom, 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 and everything will be great, and there will be an outreach, and they will do something to make sure that I feel safe and other women feel safe. And as it is, they really threatened me. Like they said, well, we'll take legal action against you if you ever talk to us. And my interest was good faith. And it's why I've gone to City Council. City Council is the place that I've felt safe. I've gone to the courts to petition for my stalking order, but it puts me in this sort of limbo situation where I feel like I want to be a part of my community. I never asked to be attacked. I never asked to be assaulted. And what I've sought is to have some kind of arbitration where I can know this abuser would never attack me again. And it says that he would not intentionally, knowingly, or recklessly contact me. And I assume that means commit a crime. But it doesn't. But it also says that I'm to be gagged from speaking about this. And I think I really want to move on to a place where I can put it behind me. But until I have something in writing that says this person who violated my physical safety and my rights not to be sexually assaulted is still working for the city or on city property for the Parks District with Oregon DHS funding, the cover-up is worse than the crime. The crime is horrendous. But when there's a culture of cover-up and a culture of go away and we'll scare you, we'll try to intimidate you. This guy asked for my medical records and he asked for this absurd invasion of my privacy via 30-page filings. I had this much legal documents from his lawyers. He hired a different lawyer to make sure the DA didn't prosecute him, intimidate the DA or whatever. Women have a hard time getting these types of cases prosecuted, and a prosecution might have been very embarrassing for the city and for the attempts to fundraise. So I hope that you will keep victims in mind and realize we have families. I have my partner's beautiful 22-year-old daughter, and it's you guys or anyone like you ever supported doing to her what he tried to do to me, tie me with these sort of like absurd legal requests and invasion of my, basically what it's called now is victim blaming. He wanted to victim blame me for being assaulted when I'm a community-minded person that wanted a job, I wanted to volunteer, and I wanted to be a part of my community. And I don't think that that's right and it's appropriate. And maybe one day I'm going to get the personal strength to just brush it off my shoulder and walk in there with my head held high and be a part of my community center. But right now I'm coming out of the traumatic state. And it's a tough place to be because I've got other stuff on my plate. I didn't really have the time and energy to have to fight this hard for justice and for my own integrity and my own dignity. It's been very humiliating, but it's what God gave me to deal with. So I'm dealing with it. And I've got a great case up in court with a bad landlord on the 7th. And so I'm working really hard on land use things. So I'm really passionate about renters having safety and having freedom from bad landlords too. So I will fight for justice whenever I get the chance. And thank you for your work for the city. And hope you take my concerns and my ideas into serious consideration.
We'll certainly keep them in mind. Not being a legal body entitled to do much, I don't know that we can help you a lot in a specific way, but I hope at least allowing you a chance to say what you have to say and be heard.
Makes me feel very...
Issue. So.
Thank you. It makes me feel glad to be heard. Thank you.